How you doing, guys? Be right with you. Sending an email. Don't you just hate that? Talking to somebody and they're tied up on their device. There's a lot of things in my life that I've taken for granted. And one of those things was simple conversation. I go look back in years gone by. Used to drive this girl home after work. And she never got out of the car right away, but we sit there and talk, sometimes for hours and hours and hours. Likewise, you get together with your friends, or one friend, and you converse, trying to save the world. And it doesn't always have to be rocket science that you're talking about, but sometimes the simplest conversation would be brain stimuli. I didn't realize until recent years that that's pretty much a thing of the past. Pretty much everybody I've known in the last couple of decades has moved on, and their company really hasn't been replaced. I mean, it's not unusual for me right now in this day and age to go days and really not say anything of any interest. This was the one thing I noticed when I was at the Kingdom Hall when I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. The lack of communication skills. I always felt like it was rehearsed speech, or you felt like you were sitting during an interview. What brought you into the truth? I always expected a microphone in my face. Or that rehearsed talk where, nice tie, brother. That was something. Idle chit-chat is fine, but it doesn't cut the mustard all the time. And I just realized, even since leaving the Watchtower, that's not limited to just Watchtower. There's something dawned on me this weekend. I was on the phone with somebody, and it dawned on me that for pretty much an entire year, our conversation was completely one-sided. Generally, the person's a chatterbox, but to try and get a word in generally doesn't happen because I'm spoken right over, and I just basically sit there and hold the phone like this. But the one thing I noticed, when you mention something that's out of the normal thinking, take them out of that little box they live in, much like Jehovah's Witnesses do, they never ask. They try and shoot it down and prove you wrong right from the get-go. This is without knowing what they're even talking about. Normally, I'm a patient person, and I normally ignore it, but I just realized that every one of our conversations, this is the route it went. If I mentioned anything out of the ordinary, it would be shot down, laughed at, scoffed at. I must have just crawled out from under a rock, even though I was on this planet decades before this person was born. And I'm listening to this, furious. She obviously put her phone down and started babbling away in the background. I said, fuck this, and hung up. Really haven't had anything to say since then. And the person's completely forgot about it. Send a text or send phone calls like, I've forgotten about it. But in realization, I'm like, I have absolutely nothing in common with this person. Conversation in itself isn't there. It's a one-sided conversation. All I am is an earpiece. And that's basically the way it's always been. And it's not only with this one person. I pretty much noticed it. I go into work. I work with a lot of younger people. And what are they doing? All day, all night. They're like this. You're trying to talk to them about something, and hold on, whoa. They're all glued to their devices. I remember back in the day, you go to a party, say 10 people were there. Eventually, everyone would pair off or group off, and they'd all have their little conversations. Different scenario today. You have 10 people that are gathering, and what are they all doing? They're texting the person that wasn't there. All of them. But there's absolutely no communication. I've noticed it. It's the same as the age of entitlement. They believe they're owed things from the get-go. They don't want to hear anything new. If they don't hear it from the false media, it doesn't exist. They don't ask questions like we did. If you tell them something out of the ordinary, doesn't have to, like I said, doesn't have to be rocket science. They don't hear it. They immediately try and shoot it down. They don't take for granted that you've lived a whole life. You have knowledge that they don't have. As a matter of fact, this one person I was talking about, I've probably forgotten more than she will never know. Yet, anytime I've mentioned something, it's shot down. And for some reason this weekend, it bothered me. It infuriated me. And she's not even aware that I'm angry about this. But like I said, it seems to be widespread now. But this is why I'm no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses, because I could not live my life in this little bubble. And even on the outside, I cannot live my life in this little bubble. Wasn't like this in years gone by, but this seems to be the age we're living in. People are all living in this little box. They have learned what they've learned, and that's it. They're told what to believe. They're all glued to their devices. So, is this an accident? No, and this is something I'm going to go on to in my next video. What we're all dealing with now is not an accident. This was done intentionally. Anyways, guys, I'd love to hear your comments on this, and I'd like to thank my subscribers, and thanks for stopping by. I will talk to you soon, guys. You have a good day.